Come on.
If you're interested in promoting your brand, business, or talent right before each video that we do here on Hip Hop News Uncensored, email us right now at advertise@hiphopun.com. That's advertise@hiphopun.com. Get your brand, get your business, get your talent in front of millions of people right now. Email advertise@hiphopun.com. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated, as this continues to unfold. Because trust me, it's going to be a lot of different twists and turns over the net. You know what I mean? Months, years, and things like that. But let's talk about Katt Williams, man, because a lot of people, man, I've been in the barbershop conversations, I've been all over, and I keep getting this consensus. The consensus is, the people that I've heard, is that his new comedy special on Netflix was trash.
Yeah.
Saying, man, we both just watched it. I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah.
Right? Do you think that his new comedy special, Katt Williams, was trash?
Absolutely not. No. Trash? Nah. I think that's a little overblown. Now, did people get the Katt Williams they expected to get? Did they get the Pimp Chronicles? Did they get the classic comedy specials that we're accustomed to seeing from Katt Williams? Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Because we even thought, like, damn, this ain't hitting us the way we thought it would, because we're so used to being on the floor crying when we hear Katt Williams. But it was a good show. It kept us engaged. It was funny. It was still classic Katt. I don't think that he deserved the criticism that he got.
Right.
That being said, this is a different world and different ages. This is the level of comedy that we're in now. Is there a new crop of comedians that we should start paying attention to and looking at and kind of appreciating the comedy we got before? Because there was a level of hunger with Katt Williams as well when we were out there cracking up at the Pimp Chronicles and things like that. There was a level of hunger. Now the success came. It's a little different. The stories are a little different. You know what I'm saying? So would I say it was garbage? No. Would I say it was his best? Of course not. Right. I'll keep it right in the middle. I'm going to have enough respect for Katt Williams as an artist, as the legendary comedian that he is.
1 to 10.
7.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all. I don't think it was as... I'll be honest, like the first maybe 10 minutes, I was kind of dragged. I'm like, man. But then he warmed it up, and he pretty much kept me ever since.
Yeah.
And I think we have to honestly give this man his flowers now, because even like we say it, and everybody can't be on a Michael Jordan like level and like 6 times at the finals, 6 championships. Sometimes your shit is not going to be as good as the last one.
Right.
But it wasn't to the point, as some people say, like a Kevin Hart, where it's totally like underperforming. Like, we totally know you could do better, but you're not trying to piss off your political connects or your sponsorship. You don't get none of that with Katt Williams. I think Katt Williams, he gave you just enough for the city at the end of the day. And I enjoyed it, man. I ain't gonna lie. I laughed a lot. It wasn't on the floor, but laughed, a lot. I will stick with that. I think that's good. A 7 out of a 10. I think it hits it perfectly. But yeah, people talking about it was trash and all that. Nah, man. Come on now.
The corny thing, and this is just the kind of world we live in now. You hear one person say it was trash, and then they base that opinion, and then they watch it. And like you said, the first 10 minutes may not have caught your attention. They turn it off. It's trash. We've seen our bro Faison Love, who's like the Siskel and Ebert of this comedy shit. He sit there and critique all of them and do major headlines. But he was trying to basically say that he'd rather cut grass or watch the rest of the show. People see that and run with it. It wasn't that bad, man. It wasn't that bad to me. Like I said, wasn't his best, but wasn't his worst.
Yeah, I don't know if he uses writers. I'm sure they all probably do. Yeah. But it's like, just come out a little bit more on fire. And I'm not no comedian. I'm not trying to sit in that position. But as a fan, just come out a little bit more on fire. You know what I mean? Because it took them like a while to kind of get the wheels going. But once they started going, though, they were spinning.
They were doing this thing.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know, like you said, to start out a little more on fire. Like there was I think my little bit of disappointment that I had in the show is there was so much that Katt could have covered in the real world that was going on. A lot of situations that we went through these last couple of years, or even the last time we heard from Katt, that would have blew the roof off the joint if we heard his thoughts on it, because he's just a brilliant comic mind that I was missing in that shit. Damn, what about this? What about that? Like
everybody talks about the C word. Like, come on. Like, talk about so much stuff that happened. Biden, who cares about the Biden? Like, it was so much more stuff he could have touched. But I guess maybe he's moving in a strategic way.
And that makes sense because some of the things he touched and some of the things comics touch nowadays that we would have deemed as a classic might have got some backlash from people signing checks. So I ain't saying that he took this foot off the gas because of that.
Right.
But I just wish some more topics would have been covered, a little more even controversial topics to hear his thoughts on it. It would have been a classic, man.
What do you see next for Katt Williams? Where does he go from here?
I mean, he stamped himself as one of the best comedians.
Eddie Murphy now? Because a lot of people are bringing up that comparison to say, how you going to criticize Eddie Murphy? And then the next series you put out, especially is subpar to some people.
That ain't fair. Eddie, the only reason, the criticism he gave Eddie Murphy was valid in my opinion. And it kind of goes even, and I don't know if we're going to talk about this, but kind of like the Biggie, Tupac, Jay-Z kind of conversation.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about that shit.
When you, if you haven't done it in a long time, you're talking about 20 years, it does not take away your place in greatness. It does not take away your legendary status.
Right.
But how can we sit here and go, Eddie Murphy still number one, when you got 30 years of comic genius that's been put out, of consistent comic genius, and none of these people have taken the rank over Eddie Murphy yet? He hasn't done it in years. It's like keeping, and that's your flavor. But it's like today you saying Richard Pryor's the greatest comedian of all time. I don't want to hear nothing different. Well, damn, if you ain't heard Richard Pryor, how you going to sit there and say it if you never really dived into Richard Pryor shit? You just saying it because everybody else say it.
Right.
I think that Katt was valid in saying that, and I don't think it's fair for people to throw criticism on him because he felt as though Eddie Murphy hasn't done anything in a while. How can you call him number one when he ain't did anything in 30 years? I think that's fair, man.
Yeah. I'll definitely say that, too.
You know what I mean?
Let's talk about what Diddy said, man, to close this thing out. You know, he was on, I think they was on something like a Twitter or Clubhouse type app.
That shit look crazy.
Yeah. And they was talking about, the void. Diddy came in and said that he feels like Jay-Z filled in the void when Biggie and Tupac were killed. I didn't agree. I definitely didn't agree with it. I thought that more so with Biggie, I could say maybe more so Biggie, but Pac, you can't put Jay-Z nowhere near close to Pac. Mm-hmm. Like Pac, somebody put it in the comments, and there was like, Tupac was able to articulate the black struggle like no other from being in it. You know what I mean? Not to say like Jay-Z got some great stuff, but nothing he's ever said made me feel like when Tupac said it. Biggie a little bit closer. That's what I was saying yesterday. Like Biggie, maybe I could see that a little bit closer. But even then, it's like, dude, these dudes was on. They were all legends. You know what I mean? But all on different levels, all in their own separate lanes, in my opinion.
Yes.
But I get what Jay-Z was saying too, because he was saying like, yeah, look, he was just trying to do the best he can, and he did it. I think he did the best that he could. A legendary job on what he did, but it's nowhere near. He didn't fill the void, in my opinion, of Biggie and Tupac. I can't say it.
From a hip hop perspective, I think due to his consistency, I would say he did. Now I hear where you're coming from a legendary personality standpoint in Tupac, where when you talked about the black struggle and he gave us a bird's eye view from his perspective of what we were going through, that will never be touched, right? It can never be touched. And unfortunately, a lot of people that come through the ranks now, they get compared to an untouchable person, right? And that's in Tupac. Based off of Jay-Z's consistency and solely on rap, I'm going to keep this solely on rap. I think that the longevity that he's had over these last 25 years of great, consistent albums, continuing to still do it, I think that he filled the void to the best of his abilities. I felt like when we lost Biggie and Tupac within 6 months of each other, such iconic figures, we were almost at a place in hip-hop. And we were young in the game, but we were almost in a place like, all right, what's next? What's going on? Biggie was my favorite rapper. So when Biggie died, I was crushing. I wasn't hearing about no fucking Jay-Z. I didn't want to hear about no Jay-Z. Biggie just died. But then you just look at the greatness of the album after album after album. Then he hits billionaire status. And then he hits this and he hits that. It almost made you soothe the wounds just a little bit more because you knew great hip-hop was still coming out. That's where I think that he carried the mantle. Passed it, debatable. But carried it strong, I give it to him.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I respect that. I just think it was just three different stories. You know what I'm saying? Three different, ways. And then I could put a lot more. And I'm the biggest Jay-Z fan. Exactly. But I could put a lot more artists, up there who carried it as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
he didn't carry it alone.
Yeah.
He wasn't up there doing that shit by himself.
Right.
There was so many other great artists that helped and considered.
And that's, I think Diddy was kind of trying to make it seem like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it was like that either.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, Nas's, like Fat Joe's, even to a certain extent.
DMX, Busta
Yeah,
Rhymes,
DMX. Yeah, so many people that kind of made you kind of forget. You know what I mean? They were going, even in the West Coast, you got your people over there. But yeah, that is what it is, though. But
a lot of people hate. I seen a lot of this in the comics that I didn't agree with. Oh, he's just a Biggie biter. Oh, he's just this. Listen, he definitely referenced Biggie's lines early on.
Right.
Biggie has not been here in 30 years, and he was not like a Tupac where albums were coming out even in his death. He did not record as much content as a Biggie as a Tupac or Jay-Z did. So I don't want to hear that the last 4 albums he took Biggie lines when Biggie wasn't even around. Like, people get caught up in certain things because they don't like him, and that's their narrative, and that's what they push. I don't agree with that.
He got so much more content outside of Biggie.
That's what I'm saying.
And I can see if he got like a few songs, and you saying Biggie shit on everything, but he got like, thousands of songs where he never referenced to say anything about Biggie that are great. So, that is what it is, man. I like I was saying too, Diddy, he's gonna know better than all of us. I guess he was actually there and knew all of them. But then he talked about how much that Biggie admired Jay-Z. A lot of people didn't agree with that. But I mean, you never know. We wasn't there. He was there.
Right.
Unless he's lying, which I don't think why he would lie about something like that.
Right.
That is what it is.
We'll never know, but I would love to see if they were all alive, where they would all be. We never thought that Jay-Z would be sitting where he's at 30 years later. No one could have ever predicted that. So to sit back and predict or kind of see where a Biggie would have been 30 years later, or even a Pac, where he would have been, it would have been amazing to see. Do you think that if they were alive, that would have taken away from Hov's legacy? Last question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you think about it. Biggie was that swagged out motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, back then. Not to say there was nobody else like that, but it was like, the whole thing is like it only could be one king. And that's how Jay-Z was looking at it. And he would tell you himself that he was in competition with Biggie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's thinking it only could be one king. So that means he said that, all right, when Biggie dropped this, he dropped 4 joints. And it's like, you don't think Biggie was going to hear him drop shit? And then Biggie dropped 10. Yeah. And then he dropped 20. And they keep going back and forth. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it would have. And I'm like everybody knows I'm the biggest Jay-Z fan, but I think it would have definitely took away.
Yeah.
Not to say it would have stopped him, but...
Biggie was a storyteller on another level. I fuck with Tupac. I got a Tupac poem tattooed on my arm. I fuck with Tupac on another level when it came to his personality, when it came to his activism, when it came to his writing and his mind.
Right.
When it came to rappers,
it was
Biggie, and then everybody else, in my opinion, man.
Yeah.
Biggie was that dude.
Yep.
Interesting conversation.
Definitely. But yeah, man, another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast is in the books. We appreciate you guys and ladies for listening, man, to the podcast today. The only thing that we hope you guys do is, hit the 5-star rating on the app, share the videos, whatever you're watching at, subscribe and all that good stuff. But with that being said, that's your brother Sam Ant, Viral Hip Hop News, Hip Hop News Uncensored. Together we are the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. Over and out.